Did Johnny Depp just deliver his most vulnerable performance yet, and nobody saw it coming? Really, think about it. How often do you watch an actor and feel like you're not watching a character at all, but the real person underneath? When was the last time a performance made you feel like you were peeking into someone's private pain, something they'd never say out loud? That's exactly what happened here. And honestly, it's the kind of performance that lingers. You can't just watch it and move on. Fans who've loved Johnny for years, for his quirky characters, his mysterious smile, his unforgettable charm, they're saying this is something entirely different. Because in the short film called Day Drinker, Johnny shows us a side of himself we've never really seen before. And it's raw. It's emotional. And it's deeply human in a way you don't expect. This is one of those rare moments where you see the person, not just the star. And if you've ever followed his career, you know he's played all kinds of characters over the years. Eccentrics, outcasts, heartbreakers, even villains. But this? This feels personal. This feels close to home. So why is everyone saying Day Drinker might just be his most honest work in years? What is it about this quiet little project that's got people talking, whispering, even tearing up? And is Johnny using this role to tell us something about himself, maybe something he can't put into words? That's what we're going to talk about today. And as we unpack it, you might start seeing Johnny, and maybe even yourself, in a whole new light. Now, here's the thing about Day Drinker. It's not your typical Johnny Depp project. Not even close. This isn't some massive Hollywood blockbuster. There are no pirates, no swords, no eccentric makeup or big courtroom scenes. It's not loud. It's not flashy. And yet, it feels bigger than most movies you'll watch this year. Because instead of hiding behind costumes or a quirky character, Johnny strips everything away. It's just him. The man. Sitting there in his own skin, with nothing to shield him. And you almost don't recognize him at first, because he looks so vulnerable. In this short film, he plays a man battling his demons at the bottom of a glass. And the way he does it, you can't help but wonder, is this just acting? Or is he quietly showing us parts of himself, things he's lived through, things we've all seen him go through in the headlines? Even longtime fans say this is the most authentic he's ever looked on screen. It's like he's inviting you to watch him wrestle with his own thoughts, his own guilt, his own regrets. And it's haunting. What really makes this performance stand out is how quiet it is. There's barely any dialogue. Barely any music. No big speeches. Just silence. Long, heavy silences. And you sit there, watching his face, and you feel every ounce of what he's feeling. The sadness in his eyes. The weight in his shoulders. The way he stares at nothing, lost in memories he can't quite escape. And isn't that the mark of a truly great actor? Someone who can break your heart without saying a single word? Someone who can tell you an entire story just by sitting in a chair, looking at the floor? Watching him in this film, you can't help but see yourself a little bit. Because let's be honest, we've all had those moments. Haven't you ever felt stuck? Like you're drowning in your own thoughts, but you can't find the words to explain it to anyone? Haven't you ever sat alone at night, replaying mistakes in your mind, wishing you could just hit rewind? That's what makes Johnny's performance in Day Drinker so powerful. Because it's not just a character he's playing. It's a feeling we've all felt at some point. That quiet kind of heartbreak that no one else sees. And maybe that's why it's so hard to watch at times. Because it's so real. So raw. So close to home. Fans online have already started calling this short film Johnny's love letter to his own battles. Like he's using this role to process everything he's been through, the ups, the downs, the pain, the redemption. Could that be true? Could this be his way of saying what words can't? Maybe. We'll never really know. But it does make you stop and think. What's so brilliant about this film is how much it goes against everything we expect from Hollywood. These days, it feels like movies are louder than ever. There's always an explosion, or a huge twist, or a dramatic monologue. But here, Johnny reminds us that sometimes, less really is more. In this role, he's not a hero. He's not a villain either. He's just a man. Flawed. Lonely. Human. And that honesty? That's what makes it unforgettable. If you've ever taken an acting class, you'll know they always say the hardest thing to do on screen is nothing. To just sit in the silence and let people see your soul. Most actors spend years trying to learn that skill. But Johnny? He makes it look effortless here. Maybe because, he's lived it. If you're someone who dreams of acting yourself someday, pay attention. Watch this performance closely. Because this is a masterclass. This is what it means to be real on camera. And if you're just a fan, someone who's loved Johnny for years, then this is one of those roles you can't miss. Because it shows you who he really is, beyond all the costumes, beyond the headlines, beyond the gossip. It shows you the man. And that's not something you see every day. I also want to share a few little insights about why this performance matters so much, even if it seems small on the surface. First of all, directors love when actors bring their own truth into a role. It's one of the quickest ways to earn respect, to win awards, to leave a mark. This kind of stripped-back honesty? That's the kind of thing that stays with you. That critics talk about for years. That audiences remember when all the flashy blockbusters have faded away. Second, audiences today are craving something real. We're so used to fake happy endings, overdone effects, forced emotions. But when someone gives us something vulnerable and human, we connect to it instantly. And third, and this might surprise you, sometimes silence is louder than shouting. Acting coaches say it all the time. You don't need to cry on cue or scream your lines to move people. Sometimes just sitting there, letting your heart show on your face, is enough to say everything that needs to be said. And that's what Johnny does here. What really gives you chills is how effortless he makes it seem. Most actors spend years learning how to show pain without overdoing it. How to cry without it looking fake. How to look like a man who's falling apart inside, while holding it together just enough to fool the world. But Johnny? He does it here without breaking a sweat. Watching him in this film, you start to wonder, is he even acting? Or is this just him, letting us see behind the curtain for a moment? Maybe that's why it hits so hard. There's something comforting about it, too. Because if someone like Johnny Depp, with all his fame, his talent, his charm, can still feel broken sometimes, then maybe it's okay if we feel that way too. Maybe it's a reminder that none of us are alone in that. And that's something worth holding on to. Now, I'd love to know what you think. What's your favorite Johnny Depp role of all time? And does seeing this emotional, vulnerable side of him make you see him differently? Go ahead and share your thoughts in the comments. I really do love reading what you all have to say. And if you're curious about the other sides of Johnny Depp, the ones Hollywood doesn't always show, I've got another video right here on the channel. It dives into his music, his artwork, and all those hidden talents you might not even know about. Definitely check that out after this. And hey, if you enjoyed this breakdown, if it gave you a little something to think about, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. It really helps more people find it. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and tap the little bell so you don't miss the next deep dive. Because with Johnny Depp, you just never know what he's going to surprise us with next. Oh, and by the way, there's this one little detail in the film I almost forgot to mention. There's a moment where he wipes at his cheek, and you can't tell if it's just part of the character, or if it's Johnny himself fighting back a real tear. It's one of those blink and you'll miss it moments that stays with you. So keep an eye out for that when you watch. Because sometimes, it's the smallest moments that tell the biggest stories. I'll leave you with this thought. Sometimes, the quietest performances leave the loudest impact. Thanks for watching. And I'll see you in the next one.